Welcome to Two Guys on a Podcast. I'm Tom.
And I'm Mike. And on today's show, we're going to talk about what to ask your military recruiter.
Stand by, we're going to get after it.
Shut up and sit down.
All right, we're back. Today we're gonna talk about what to ask your recruiter if you're thinking of going into the military. Throw some random questions out there.
This was inspired by a conversation I had this weekend with some folks we both know.
Correct.
Well,
we know the father.
The father, yeah. Great family. Really great family. But yeah, this show kind of was inspired from that conversation.
Well, they reached out to you to ask. Their son is thinking of going to the military.
Yeah. Yep.
So they reached out to you from that 31-year Navy guy. Might know something about it. And you used to be a recruiter.
A few years recruiting.
Yeah. Nice. So that's what we're doing.
So,
what's a pretty common question?
Well, I don't know. What would I know what I would. I don't even.
Can I become Rambo? The answer is,
do I have to kill people?
The answer is no. You can't.
No. Rambo was
no. To get in the military, though, you have there's a test. You got to take a test.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the basic requirements. Not stuff you'd necessarily ask your recruiter, but
stuff you should have. You should know about.
Let's face it. If you can't pass the ASVAB, which is a test that everybody in the military takes, for the enlisted side of the house. If you're an officer, you take a different test. But going to a Navy recruiter to be enlisted, you take the ASVAB.
Yeah, Marine Corps, Army, they all do.
I think the minimum, if I remember right, like the minimum qualifying test score for the Navy was like 31 or 32.
Yeah, I saw online that it changes annually based on the needs of the military and the population and all that in the military. But it's probably somewhere right around there.
So when I came in, a long time ago, I was a high school dropout, so you had to get a 50 or above.
Oh, with no high school diploma?
With no high school diploma. I don't even know if you can get in now with that one. It varies year to year, but anyway.
I think I scored like 8,400 or something. It's like the Wonderlic test for the NFL draft, right?
So the first thing you got to do, excuse me.
Got to pass the ASVAB.
Yeah. But that's not really what gets people.
Mm-mm.
The physical.
Yeah, there's minimum physical requirements.
Yeah, so.
For different, each branch has their own. But.
Yeah, so there's a medical test you got to take.
Oh, yeah.
So you go to the
eyesight
MEP station and you take the military entrance processing station and you got to do a physical.
Yeah.
So it's like a little more than a sports physical if you played high school sports or some kind of sports.
Well, they check your hearing, I believe, or maybe not your hearing, but I know they do eyesight.
Yeah, they make sure you're not broken. Believe it or not, and I don't remember what the number is. When I was recruiting, most people didn't qualify for the military, not because they weren't smart enough, but because they weren't healthy enough.
Interesting. There's also minimum physical requirements you have to meet.
Like you can't be fat and be in the military. Well, that's not true.
Unless
you
you're
can
in the
be,
Army. But so like pull-ups and running, you got a time, you got to make a 3-mile run.
Do pull-ups.
Well, like leg lifts or whatever they do in the Navy. But yeah, each branch has its own things, and you can easily find out what that is as you're looking into it. But that's something to ask your recruiter too. What are the minimum requirements that I need to be able to do? If you're going in and your benchmark is the minimum requirements,
go do something else.
Yeah, go do something else, baby. Or get to work, right? Get to work and blow those minimum requirements away. Because the better you are physically, the better you are mentally, the better you're going to be in the military.
Yeah, a lot of people say, well, what job can I do? I want to be X. I want to be, I want to do something with airplanes. Well, if your ASVAB score, let's say you score a 65. Pretty decent score, right? Well above the national average. But then there's sections within the ASVAB that you have to meet meet the minimum qualifications. Like for the Navy, it might be arithmetic reasoning. It might be mechanical aptitude. It might be some subset of the ASVAB. So even if you score a 67 or so, you still might not qualify for a particular job you
Correct.
Want because you don't meet.
They all have their own different MOSs, if you will. I think they still call them MOSs, maybe.
They call them rates in the Navy.
Yeah, military occupational specialties
in
the Marine Corps.
Marine Corps.
MOS.
I think the Army calls
but it's basically your job, right?
Yeah.
It's basically your job.
Yeah, yeah.
So they all have their own little entry things. If you guys recall, we've talked about David Goggins before on here, Navy SEAL. He go check him out. Amazing. But he had to take the ASVAB 3 times because he was trying to qualify for the Navy SEAL program.
Yeah.
And he had to score 50. And 3 times and you're done. You're done. If you fail it 3 times, you can't go back and try again. On his 3rd time, he was sweating it. He said he came out and he was sweating it. And he went back in and kind of convinced the person that was administering the test to let him know what his score was.
Which is completely illegal.
Correct. And he got a 50 or a 51. Or, I mean, he barely
He
made
got
it.
a 50. I think his story's got a 50.
So he made it. So anyway, the rest is history. Go look him up.
So you got to, excuse me, you have to edit all these out.
That's all right. We just ate pizza. Allegedly. Allegedly.
Allegedly. So a couple of things you got to keep in mind. And then I was thinking through this as I was talking with a friend of ours, son, who's a great guy. I was very impressed by him. But you know, as I was talking to him, and the program he wants to get into, you know, all the physical attributes, I think most people can make it happen, right? But it's it's up here. It's the mental. You got to be ready for it, and
that's what separates. So especially in programs that are cream of the crop programs, right? Elite programs, it's the mental that separate the big jock from college and, you know, star football player and stuff. They don't make it all the time. It's the mentally tough guys that make it.
Yeah, and so the other thing about that is that you just, whether you're going into SEALs, Army Ranger, whatever you're going into, you got to be mentally prepared for that stuff.
You got to be.
You know, I mean, submarines. You know, you got to be ready for what's coming at you.
Like, for example,
and
you can't be claustrophobic and then go, I want to serve on a sub.
Well, the other aspect of that is there might not even be something that you have control over. For example, when I was going through boot camp, all of us submarine designated types, you know, that we had our jobs before we went out to the fleet or whatever, you had to do a hearing test thing. And if you couldn't pop your eardrums, you were done. So no fault of your own, might just be a physical attribute that, you know, you're unable to pop your ears. Well, guess what? You're going to go find another job because you can't be in the submarine if you can't pop your ears. At least back when I was.
Probably can't be aircraft crew either.
I don't know.
That's interesting.
So
they're all going to have little things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And here's the key too: if your goal is to go into the military and you want to become a, you know, Navy SEAL or you want to become, you know, Marine Recon or Marine Raider or whatever, or something in the Army for some reason, and you don't make it, so what? Bust your butt for something else, right? You can have a backup plan. We talked about that earlier, having a backup plan. But you can be disappointed, but if you want to go back and try it again, you know, don't ever give up, but have a backup plan too, a reserve plan. Because it doesn't mean your military career is over.
Yeah, so if you go to the Navy recruiter, and I'll just use Navy as an example, you know, there's got to be some questions you got to ask. And most recruiters will not be happy about me saying this. But you're in charge, okay?
Yeah.
The recruiter's not in charge. You are.
They like to act
regardless whether the economy's good or bad, you know, they understand the points in the process. So as far as like timing and all that stuff, you usually want to listen to them.
Pick their brain, yeah.
Like when I recruited for 4 years. I recruited officers. And I would tell them, listen, we got to get your stuff, boom, boom, boom. And it wasn't because I was trying to push them through the process.
It's because
there's
stay on target.
Well, yeah, there's gates, there's times. You don't get your stuff in on time, you're going to be waiting longer. And then like for the enlisted side, it's a little faster, but on the officer side, it's minimum 6, 8, 10 months.
Yeah.
It's not a quick process. So you got to just keep those things in mind. But always remember, you know, you're in charge of that, of your decision to go in. You know, no one's trying to convince you. And a lot of times the recruiter's not going to tell you everything you need to know. They're going to tell you what they want you to know, but they're not going to tell you everything.
Yeah, they'll tell you what they think you want to hear.
Yeah. Recruiting's a tough business, man. It's a tough job.
It is, because ultimately you're recruiting people to go serve their country, and there's a risk. right? With anything you do in the military. I don't care if you're a cook or not. Cook or you turn a bolt on an airplane or whatever, there's risk, period. So you got to weigh that out. If you're going to talk to a recruiter to join the military, you've probably weighed that out.
Well, and I'll tell you, now, he went through it a long time ago. I went through it even a longer time ago. But at the end of the day, it was the right choice for me to make.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Right? I stayed for a long time. Other people, they might do 3, 4, 5 years, 8 years, whatever, then find something else to do. But at the end of the day, it's going to make you a better person.
Yeah. You're gonna grow up. You're gonna learn some discipline, and you're just gonna learn to serve. Serve something bigger than yourself. Team. All the analogies you want to use. It's good stuff. So here's the kicker. So when you're at the recruiter and you're talking to him, and you're asking him these questions, and he's giving you answers stuff. Back in the day, no internet.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Can't go look it up. Well, now you can do research on your own. And you can go get a lot of these answers, and then you can go in and talk to a recruiter. So now that recruiter knows that you can go out and get the same answer on the internet.
Yeah, do your homework.
So let's just say allegedly it's probably more honest today than it was maybe back when we went in.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably.
I don't want to give recruiters a bad name. But anyway, go look it up. If you do have questions and you're not sure, if the recruiter gives you an answer, go look it up or talk to somebody like the young man that came and talked to Mike.
Yeah, and I recruited, so I didn't give any bad information. But one thing to keep in mind, I hear a lot of nonsense about recruiters lying, right? And sometimes that is true.
I think old school.
Even when I was recruiting. However, sometimes things just change so quickly.
That's true.
You can't keep up with everything. The other thing is, unlike any other branch of the military, the Navy has airplanes, ships, submarines. We have more craft than any of the other branches, right?
Yeah.
So we have the Seabees, so you're going to do construction. So things change. So I was a submarine guy. I can't tell you what surface fleet's like. I can't tell you what Seabees are like. I can't tell you what SEALs are like. You got to go out and find somebody that's done the job that you may want to do.
Right. So like your Uber for the Marine Corps.
That's a pretty
seriously
good Uber driver.
One of the interesting things too is so how long is boot camp? That sometimes is it's an odd question to ask, I think, but at least going in what you're up for.
Yeah,
and they're going to tell you when you get there anyway.
I think Navy's 8 weeks.
Navy and Coast Guard are both 8 weeks.
Yep.
I'd be interested to know how similar those programs are. I mean, there's going to be some similarities, I'm sure, just because of the seaborne vessels and everything else. But but I bet they differ fairly different halfway through or something. But anyway,
Army's 9 weeks.
Army's 9 weeks. The Air Force
6 weeks
is 6 days.
Sorry, I didn't mean to chuckle.
6 days. No, 6 weeks for the Air Force, and then the Marine Corps is 13 weeks. So
because it takes them longer to teach them guys.
Thicker heads. You got to go over things multiple times.
It's all in good fun. The competitive nature of the Navy Marine Corps is always fun. So
well, we're the men's department of the Navy. I have a friend. Shout out to Dave. He just texted me today, talking about our Stolen Valor show, and he was mentioning how good of friends we were growing up, and we still are and stuff, and yeah. He had a derogatory remark about the Navy that I shared with Mike. Mike's not too thrilled about it, Dave. But hey, whatever.
Try it, Dave.
Yeah.
I'll see you sooner or later.
That's right. All right, so how long is boot camp? We gave you that answer. Boot camp's pretty tough, but it's supposed to be. But it's really not like that's your introduction to the military. Boot camp, they break you down to build you back up. And once you get out to the fleet, if you will, in the Marine Corps and the Navy and whatever they call the Army and Air Force, then you go into your specialty, your schooling, if you have a specialty school. Mm-hmm. Even if you go into infantry, you got a school of infantry and stuff like that.
How to hold it.
So everything you're doing, which barrel, which end
to hold. I gotta say.
Yeah, you get issued your crayons, and then so
the different flavors.
Yeah. It's smorgasbord. I mean, it's great. So you go to your schooling, and then depending on your schooling, you could be in the military for 6, 8, 9, 12 months, sometimes even longer.
Yeah, one
before you go out to your job.
That reminded me, one last thing you want to make sure you do. You get through the whole process and you're smart enough and you're fit enough, get stuff in writing.
Yes.
There is a contract associated with going into the branch of the military, whichever branch you go into. Make sure you get that stuff in writing. What job am I going to get? I don't know. It's this job. Make sure you get that stuff in writing. It's not just a word of mouth.
Yeah, if they tell you, hey, you want to go in to be a air traffic controller, let's say, and you don't have a contract, all of a sudden you find yourself, cleaning toilets.
That's something.
Well, you're going to clean toilets regardless, but you know what I mean. Point being, you won't necessarily get what you wanted.
But anyway, it's good stuff, man.
It is.
If you have any comments or questions about the military, hit us up below, and we'll respond.
Yeah, so if you're a youngster that's looking to join the military, another good program is to start that process is the delayed entry program.
Well, right? You would have to swear in to get into the delayed entry program.
Yeah, but this is for like if you're underage or something, you got to wait a certain time. Yeah, so anyway, delayed entry program, get in there. You can do some more learning there and share with people that you're going to go in with. Yep. So if you have questions, let us know, or Google it, as the kids say now.
Plenty of YouTubes. Check the YouTubes.
Yeah, and books. There's books out there. I did hear a great piece of advice I was watching a video on YouTube real quick, story here. Marcus Luttrell, lone survivor, Navy SEAL. If you don't know who he is, shame on you. If you do know who he is, awesome, good job. A couple other SEALs that he knew that he was. Rob O'Neill.
It's never a short story.
No. I could talk about this forever. So Marcus Luttrell, Robert O'Neill, a couple other guys sitting there talking around a campfire at Marcus Luttrell's house in Texas, telling their stories and everything. By the way, Robert O'Neill is the guy who plugged Osama bin Laden. So I watched this video on YouTube. Marcus Luttrell, Robert O'Neill, two very famous Navy SEALs. Go look them up. They were sitting there talking about people wanting to get into the Navy SEAL program, to go to BUD/S and become a Navy SEAL. One of the hardest things, if not the hardest thing to do in the military. I'll put it up there with any of the other elite forces and stuff. Okay. But they said people would come up and go, I'm taking a lot of cold showers getting ready for BUD/S because it's so cold in the bay and everything. Yeah, and they said that's the dumbest thing I ever heard of. Like, the water's still going to be cold. You can take as many cold showers as you want. When you get there, the water's still going to be cold. So, anyway, just food for thought.
That's a perfect ending to this show.
All right, make sure you subscribe.
You're probably going to need a cold shower after watching this.
Whatever. I got a million of them, so we could do this forever. Make sure you subscribe. Tell your friends. Again, thanks for the ads. You guys are taking out ads for the channel. That's awesome. Keep that up. Tell your friends. Tell your parents, teachers, your probationary guy. The guy you go see for probate. Get all that shit squared away.
All right. I can't even listen to you anymore. Deuces.
No. All right. So make sure you subscribe. We appreciate all the support. Let's keep growing the channel. Share it. Talk about it. Let's continue the conversations. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Tom. Deuces. That's going to be the worst show ever.
No, that'll be good. I'll be able to edit that up good.
All right.
We got some good points.